Hey, everybody. How's it going? All right, let's see here. So first of all, let me know if the mic is on that you can hear me all right. And I got Chip logging in. So great to see you. We've been gone for a couple of weeks now, and it's good to be back. I'm glad to be here. I am Roger Blankenship, your host, and this is Flipping America. This is the June the 9th meeting of the Flipping America RIA, and I'm so happy to see you here today. Thanks for taking your time to watch. If you're watching live, if you're watching later on, that's great. We won't be able to answer your questions, but if you're watching live right now on Facebook or YouTube and you have a question or a comment as we go along today, or you just want to say hello, please put it in the comments and I will see it right here on my screen. If I look down, I'll see it. And I'm glad you're here. Thanks for taking the time. All right. So let's dive right in, shall we? I've got, first thing up is the pledge. It's been a few weeks since we've done this, since you've heard it. So this is our pledge to ourselves. It's a mindset piece. It's where we take responsibility for our own lives and the things that are around us by saying, I am the reason.
When I look in the mirror, I see the reason. The credit for my successes, the blame for my failures. I cannot make it without my team, and I tell them often. But when they succeed, it's because I chose well and I led well. When they fail, it's because I did not choose or lead well. I am the reason. I may have setbacks, but I cannot fail if I don't ever give up. You got circumstances. I got circumstances. We all got circumstances, but you won't find me under mine. My situation will not dictate my emotion. My circumstances will not control my results. External forces will not take away my power to choose. I cannot change the world, but I can change me and the way I relate to it. So I charge on. I am the reason. I have a massive vision, which creates massive pressure, leading to massive action, which is the only chance I have to achieve massive results. The world doesn't owe me success. God doesn't owe me success. No one is going to work for my success. Therefore, no one will work harder for their success than I will for mine. I will give my all and then a bit more. So tomorrow, my all will be more.
All right. Welcome back, Chip. How you doing, man?
Good. How are you?
Good.
I look kind of yellow on the screen. Is that
Yeah.
because of where I am?
Are you in a yellow room?
I don't know.
Got some jaundice or something?
Yeah, I think that's what it is. Anyway, I'm up in Knoxville, Tennessee.
All right.
Came up yesterday for the Knoxville Landlord Luncheon, and then last night was the second live meeting of Knox RIA. So back in person. Yeah.
How'd that go? Was it well attended?
Not as much as before, but still it was a good crowd, 30, 35 people, something like that.
Well, it's going to take a little while to get back to normal, I think, and longer than either you or I thought, right? We tried to do some live meetings last year, and that didn't go over real well. But all right, so special thanks to Bay Mountain Capital for their sponsorship for the Flipping America RIA and their involvement in helping us grow this. Now we are, 32 chapters. With today, we went over 10,600 members nationwide in our meetup groups. Nice. That's pretty cool. And thank you for your part in that. So tell us a little bit about Bay Mountain. And, it's been a couple of weeks. Maybe we've got people listening who haven't heard. So give us the rundown. Tell us the story.
Yeah. So I've been wanting to tell you about this one property that we did recently for the last couple of weeks. And I've had to sit on my hands trying to keep from the excitement. Anyway, we did a loan down near Savannah on Wilmington Island, which is on the way to Tybee Island, southeast of Savannah. And it was a killer deal. I'll tell you what, the guy, this was his fifth loan with us, and he only started a year ago. He's doing really well. If you've been on this show before, you've probably heard me talk about him, and I'll tell you at the end where you can go find some information on what they're doing. But the purchase price was less than $175,000. They're only going to put about $20,000 into it for the rehab. So we were able to get them a 100% loan. They thought it was going to appraise for $390,000, but it appraised for $400,000. So more than they thought. That's pretty unusual.
Yeah.
But that was great. So we were able to lend them the 100%. Like I said, only 50% of the value. The loan is 50% of the value. And they stand to make a profit of at least $180,000, maybe even $200,000. So it's a killer deal. So if you want to see what they're doing and some of the properties that they've worked with on Facebook, you can go to Cotton Coastal Homes and see the properties that they've done. They do some really good work.
Cotton, like the t-shirt material?
Yes.
All right.
Cotton Coastal Homes on Facebook.
Okay.
And make sure you like it on there, because he's a good friend and he wants to get some likes.
Yeah, and when you're there, tell him that you heard about him right here on Flipping America Rehab. All right.
Exactly.
That's great.
Yeah. So I'm going to put the terms into the chat, and people can see how we can do 100% loan for experienced investors.
Yeah, do that.
And all right.
Now, remind me, you probably said it, but I'm not that great of a listener, I guess. Where is this property?
In Savannah. Well, it's on Wilmington Island, which is southeast of Savannah, going towards Tybee.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. Flipping Savannah.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Okay, well, great to see you. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it. And thank you, Bay Mountain Capital. And if you all ought to reach out to Chip. Chip, put your contact information in the chat too. Even if you're not in one of Chip's lending areas, he can connect you. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that today as we go through the presentation for today. But Chip will connect you with someone that can get you the money, someone who will perform, who will do what they say they're going to do, and get you the money you need for your project. And I appreciate that. All right. Thanks, Chip. All right. So let's jump into the topic. Well, first of all, we're going to do the announcements. I skipped the announcements on purpose because I'm going to do them both at the same time, the announcements and the presentation, since I am your speaker today. So first of all, here's what's coming up. This is the topic today: no money down, how to fund your flips, rentals, whatever, with none of your own money. And I speak as someone who has done this, like more than 1,000 times. Seriously. Okay. Tomorrow evening at 7:30, Scott Ulmer will be back with Ton Michelle. And they, as you know, are with Little Pink Houses, and they're building quite the business. It's a nationwide affiliate business. They are looking into franchising, but for now it's an affiliate, and anybody can become one of their affiliates and go through their training intently, deeply. But I asked them to come back and talk a little bit tomorrow night about the subject of negotiation. And we're going to talk about that during the course of the evening. And then I have a new course on negotiation. It's a mini course on negotiation. It's out right now. I mean, you could go to the Academy page and sign up for it. It's I think it's $29, but tomorrow night it's going to be offered at a very special price for our live stream listeners. So be sure to tune in tomorrow night. Negotiation. And then coming up Wednesday the 16th is Seth Williams, and he is the guy behind the website RE Tipster. I admire what he does. I really want to share it with you because he just has it together. And the way he puts his website together and all of that, he can really help you in your business. And I like bringing other people in who teach the business and help people get going. And Seth's a sharp guy, and you'll be glad that you tuned in next Wednesday. Next Thursday night, we're still putting the program together, so I don't want to say a whole lot about it. Instead, I'll skip to the following Wednesday, June the 23rd. Stephen Weibel is going to join us, and he's going to talk about a credit-worthy business. Now, we've talked a little bit about business lines of credit, and we're going to talk about that again this month as well. where you can get these lines of credit based on a stack of credit cards. That's not what this is. This is building a credit-worthy business with a Dun & Bradstreet rating and going through some steps that you need to go through so your business is able to borrow money for things like infrastructure and that sort of thing. Stephen Weibel is an expert on that topic. I've had him on the Flipping America show. It's been, man, I can't believe it, but it's been a year and a half now since we had him on the show. It was a terrific show, and he did a great job explaining what they do. And I know that you're going to want to take advantage of what he has to offer as well. So say hello in the comments and talk to each other, and be sure that you head over to this link, bit.ly/FARREIA join, and join the Flipping America REIA. You can join for as little as $10 a month. If you go ahead and pay the annual membership of the big whopping $99, it's the best value in REIAs anywhere, but for the $99, that gets you an automatic 15% discount on all courses now and in the future in the Flipping America Academy. And it also gets you a little bit of a discount on the mentoring programs as well. Okay, now here's the topic today. No money down. Need to take a break? Got to get a drink of water. Hold on. Okay, I fibbed a little bit. That wasn't water. That was Mountain Dew. It always is. I drink water in the morning and I drink water at night. Mountain Dew in between. Okay. No money down, investing in real estate with little or no money of your own. Little or none money. Great. I went through this thing and corrected and looked, and there's a typo or a grammatical error right on the first thing. I got to fix that. Staff, make a note. We're going to fix that later. All right. Anyway, not before we go live with it. So when you think about a deal, now, this is not a talk about creative deal financing. We've talked a lot about that in previous shows this year and the years before, and we're going to talk about it again. Creative deal structures that allow you to just like take over a loan with a subject to or get seller financing. Yes. Those are all great. But that's not what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about actually going with cash, not your cash, but cash to buy a property, or buying from a broker using a loan product. I'm going to describe some loan products here in just a few minutes. And then best of all, figuring out a way to combine funding sources so that none of your own money is involved. I have done this. Well, I've done just under now 2,000 flips, and I've probably used my own money in maybe 20 or 30 of them. Most of the time, I still use other people's money, even though I don't really have to. But if I use my own money, I'll run out eventually. If I use other people's money, well, I don't seem to run out of friends and people that want to participate and invest with me. And if you're looking, by the way, I've got a really, if you want to join with me in a project, I've got a really great opportunity that just landed on my plate, and I'm trying to figure out how to fund it. So we can talk about that later. All right. I want to take a typical rehab project here, and we're going to use these numbers as our illustration all the way through. So this box represents the basically the number of dollars in a deal. And so the ARV in this particular project is $400,000. Now, we're going to buy this property for $230,000, and we're going to rehab it for $50,000, and that's going to leave a gross profit of $120,000. Now, that's not what you're really going to make. This is not one of those TV shows that just leaves it at that, but that's really what the gross profit is. Out of that, you've got to pay commissions, you've got overhead, you've got the cost of your funds, which is really what we're going to talk about today. We're going to assume commissions, and I'll put those when we start looking at the profit numbers in just a few minutes. We're going to calculate those in, and we're going to look at the cost of capital depending on how we fund this $280,000 in expenses. And that's the first question. Where will I get $280,000? That really is the big question. We've got a deal here. We've got a deal with $120,000 of gross profit. We want to do this deal. But where are we going to get the $280,000? Here are your options. You can use your own cash. Okay. If you have that cash, you're probably not tuned into this because this is about none of your own money, right? You can get some money from the seller some of the time. You can get a form of seller financing, and they're not going. No, I don't think any seller out there is going to put up the money for your rehab. you're not going to get all of your money from the seller financing. No money down deals with creative structures, they do other different things for the exit. They don't usually involve a rehab. But now we're going to rehab this property. We're going to buy it and we're going to rehab it. So let's leave out those first two options, and we're going to focus for the next few minutes on these options: hard money loan, loan combinations, private equity partner, and private lender. And I'm covering them in order of the easiest to the most difficult. Hard money loans, despite the name, is the easiest way to fund your project. And, we've just heard from Chip and Bay Mountain Capital, and we're thrilled with the relationship with Bay Mountain. And if I were going to use a hard money loan, and actually Chip and I didn't discuss it a moment ago, but we're talking about doing my current project that just got handed to me with a hard money loan from Bay Mountain Capital. We're exploring that possibility. And of course, you'll know if it happens because we'll tell you. But hard money is relatively easy to get. Then loan combinations, I'll show you how that works in just a minute. A private equity partner, I'll explain that, and a private lender. But the private equity partner and the private lender are much more challenging to find than hard money. And you'll see that as we go through. All right. Now, a hard money lender is going to make a loan there are different types of loans, and I've done a lot of different loan structures from various institutional lenders over the years. But really, I don't want to confuse you with all the variety of things that are out there. So let's just focus on this. Most hard money lenders today are going to make a loan based on the after repair value, or ARV. Most of them will loan up to 70% of the ARV. Some will go to 75. Bay Mountain will go to 75 if you have more experience. And some will stick at 65. Their terms differ, and it's their choice because they're a private company and they can do what they want. But they're basically going to require that there be a 30% margin in this project. Reason for that is to safeguard their own investment in the loan. So let's look at this $400,000 deal. Now, $400,000 is the ARV, and we need $280,000 to do the deal. That's, we could cover this with debt of $280,000 with the purchase and the rehab. But if you do this, now this will qualify as a 70% ARV loan. But if you do this, you're going to come out of pocket about $46,000 by the time you pay the points, the closing costs, the associated fees, and your interest payments going on up. Now, every hard money lender does things a little bit differently. If you went to Bay Mountain's website and went through their calculator, you may come up with a different answer. I've run the numbers based on the calculator that I've used in my own lending business in the past. So, but this is what I come up with: $46,000 in out-of-pocket expense. All right. So, here's kind of how we break down those expenses. There's your ARV: purchase of $230,000, rehab $50,000, loan is $280,000. The cash to close is $16,000. That's your points and fees and closing costs. And then your additional cash is $30,000. That's needed to cover all your interest payments during the time of the loan. Okay. So your total funds needed, $336,000. Excuse me a second. All right, I'm back. I need a cough button there, don't I? All right. So now the question is, where will I get $56,000? And that's not as big as $280,000, but still, that's a pretty big number. And so that makes it a pretty big question. I want to talk to you a little bit about the funding stack. Now, years ago, I read a book on how commercial funding gets done, because I was curious how they put together these big skyscraper deals and the massive shopping center complexes and the factories and the plants. And there's a process involved in that. And I found a book and I read it. It was long. It was a difficult read. It didn't have a lot of pictures, and frankly, it was tough. It was kind of hard to get through. But I condensed all of that into what an understanding that works for me. And I know if I can draw it in a chart, then it will help me understand it. So here is how the funding stack works. I'm going to use the same box that we've been using, and this box represents the total project cost in this case. At the bottom of the funding stack is your first position debt. It's represented by this darker blue color. And then there's mezzanine debt, or gap funding, which is in second position. And on top of that, they will bring in some partners to invest, but these are equity partners. And the first position for equity partners is preferred equity. And the last position is a lot of times called common equity. Now, I don't want to get into a lengthy discussion of this because that's not the point. But just to let you know, the positions are in order from bottom to top, and the risk is in order from bottom to top, but also the reward is in order from bottom to top. The first position debt is at a lower interest rate. Second position debt is at a higher interest rate because there's higher risk involved. The preferred equity gets a bigger share of the profits. The common equity gets a lower share of the profits, or I'm sorry, the preferred equity gets a share of the profits, but the common equity people will get actually a higher share of the profits, but their profit comes last. So if things go south in this deal, the first position lender is the only one that's likely to get satisfied. If the property just totally fails and goes into foreclosure and is sold off, the first position lender is going to conduct the foreclosure. And if there is a bid in above what the first lender is owed, then the second lender will get that. But the equity partners, they're out. If the exit strategy doesn't go as planned and they make less money than they thought, the first position, they're going to get satisfied. The second position will probably get satisfied. They'll get paid off and get their interest rate, okay? The preferred equity will make money if the project made money, and the common equity people will make money if everybody else is satisfied. Well, they'll make good money. So the common equity investor is a true believer in this project, okay? So the blue represents debt and the orange colors represent equity. There they go. They're showing up. And the blue is a percentage on the money, and the orange is a percentage of the deal. Now, what I want you to keep in mind for the rest of this illustration, there's this conversation here, blue is debt, orange is equity, okay? And debt is they're going to get a percentage of on the money that they put into it. And the equity, they're going to get a percentage of the deal profit if there is any, okay? And as I mentioned before, there is a risk reward analysis here. The lowest risk is for the first position lender. The second position lender has a lower risk. Then the higher and highest risk go to the equity investors. That's the way these things work. Now, the high risk for the equity investors is simply because they're not in first position. They're not in a position to get their money until the debt has been paid off if things went south. That's really an oversimplification, and it's really quick. But, I hope that maybe you take a screenshot of this. You can refer to it again a little bit later on. Now let's look at this funding stack. Go back to our house illustration where we're getting a loan for $280,000 and we need $56,000 out of pocket. How about going and getting a second loan? That's a possible thing to do. Your total funds required, now the box represents $336,000, okay? Because that's what we need to do this loan with our hard money lender. So there's our $280,000 first position loan, and then we're going to get us a gap loan or a mezzanine loan, but it's never called mezzanine in residential. We need a loan of $56,000. Now, it just happens that I have an analytical spreadsheet where I run these numbers all day long, except when I'm doing the show. And so I can put the $56,000 loan in there and offer an 8% interest rate. My lender may want 10%. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't affect a whole lot. There's your monthly payment, and there's the total cost of the money. And now this little snapshot from this is taken in the larger context of my big analytical spreadsheet where I've already talked about how long this project is going to take. And so it bases it on that. So what does this do to my profit? I'm glad you asked this question. I'm going to answer it. We're going to look at the profit with the second mortgage involved on this particular project. Remember, the sales price is $400,000. The purchase price is $230,000. The rehab is $50,000. We're assuming that everything went well with all of this all the way through, okay? The commissions are $24,000. Loan one cost $46,000. We've talked about that. Actually, it's $56,000. That's a typo. Loan two costs $2,200, and there's your net profit, $47,800, more or less. Different hard money lenders are going to have different terms. You may find less expensive. You may find more expensive money, but more or less. And really, I'm just putting these numbers in here for you to have reference points to understand the differences between these different type of funding. Okay, so now you have done this deal with not $56,000 out of pocket, not $46,000 out of pocket, but no money out of pocket because you borrowed that $56,000 that you needed. You paid $2,200 for it. Even if you paid $5,000 or $8,000 for that money, this is still a deal you would do, right? To net out, $40,000, $42,000, $43,000. Sure, you would. Yeah, that's one way this works. Now, what about a funding stack with an equity partner? Here's how that looks. There's the money that you need, $336,000. There's your ARV loan of $280,000. Now, you need somebody to help you with that $56,000. So you bring in a partner. The partner puts up $56,000 and they're going to want something for their money, but they're not making you a loan. They want a piece of the action. They want a piece of the profit. And sometimes, just to make it a little more complicated, sometimes they want a piece of the profit with a guaranteed minimum interest rate return. I've done that with investors as well. In this case, $56,000 is 20% of the total amount invested. And so we're going to give them 20% of the profit on the back end. So here's what that profit looks like. Sales price of $400,000, purchase of $230,000, rehab $50,000, commissions $24,000, loan one costs $46,000, equity partner costs $10,000 because that's what they're getting out of the profits, and your net profit is $40,000. Keep in mind these numbers are more or less. I've got that 46,000 typo in there again. But roughly you're going to make about $40,000 by using an equity partner. How much money did you have in this deal? None of your own money. Let's keep going. What if you got an equity partner to fund the whole thing? There's your 300, or now you don't need 336, it's 280 because we don't have the loan costs attached to it. Okay, $280,000, and your equity partner is putting all of that up. They're putting up 100% of the money. Now, you're not doing this for free. And, in the previous illustration, the equity partner had 20% of the deal because they put up 20% of the money. But when the equity partner is in first position, their risk is very much smaller. And of course, you're making the right kind of deal, right? You're buying a property that you're not.
I couldn't hear what you said.
Whoops, my watch is talking to me. You're making a deal where your total investment is still less than 70% of the ARV, right? So you're making a good deal. The equity investor is in a safe spot to at least get their money out. And what I propose that we do, and this is what I've always done and what I propose that you propose to people, is for 100% of the money, I'll put up 100% of the effort and we'll split the profits 50-50. And so let's see how that works out. Sales price $400,000, purchase $230,000, rehab $50,000, commissions $24,000, net profit $96,000 because we don't have the cost of the funds in there, and your equity partner gets $48,000 and you get $48,000. How much money do you have in this deal? None. And you get $48,000. Now I'm just going to be real with you because I always am. This is how I do most of my flips. I have friends and partners that put up the money, and they put up all the money. I do the work. I make sure it happens. I give a good accounting and reporting of the costs, and we split the profit at the end. It works. I've done it hundreds of times. All right. What if you had a private lender? Here's your deal. Again, you need $280,000. If you get a private lender, perhaps they will loan you the entire $280,000 at an interest rate. And let's say for this illustration, you're going to offer them 12%. Based on what people can make in government-backed loans right now, or government-backed investments, CDs and savings accounts and so forth, 12% is a heck of a deal. And it's secured by real estate, and your loan to value to your ARV is still within that 70%. So they're in a pretty protected position at this point. They're loaning you all the money, and you're going to pay them 12%. Okay? You're not paying any points up front, and you may have to come out of pocket $1,000 or $2,000 for the closing costs, but you can even get the loan to include that. So here's what your private lender profit analysis looks like. $400,000, purchase $230,000, rehab $50,000, Interest paid at 12%. This project lasted 6 months, so the interest paid is $16,800. Your commission's $24,000. Your profit is $79,200. Whoa. All right, let's recap. Funding comparisons. I'm going to show you the type of funding, the cash required, and the net profit to you. The ARV loan, $46,000 cash required, $50,000 in profit. Okay. Now we didn't run those numbers earlier, but I'm just telling you that's basically what you can expect on this deal. On your ARV plus your second, zero cash required, $47,800. ARV plus equity partner, zero cash required, $40,000. Equity partner only, zero cash required, $48,000. Private lender, zero cash required, $79,200. Are you seeing this? There are real possibilities that any of you could be fixing and flipping houses. If you know what you're doing on the fixing and flipping side, you could be doing this right away. It doesn't have to be after you get, $50,000 saved up, or $40,000 or $30,000 in order to do a hard money loan. And I'm going to give you some resources just a minute to show you how you can take care of this. Okay, because the first thing you need to do if you want to do this is you've got to go find that private money. And I'm going to make it very easy for you in just a minute. All right. I will say, if you're dealing with individuals, this chart is ordered in terms of easiest at the top and most difficult at the bottom. The private lender, if you have a private lender that's satisfied with an interest rate and they'll put up the money, then, your skids are greased and you're good to go, because you can do as many deals until they run out of money, and you can keep things rolling that way and enjoy the profits. But those kind of private lenders are hard to find. Most private lenders are, by the way, going to require you to have a little bit of skin in the game. An equity partner only, they're also hard to find. You've got to cultivate relationships. There's a whole process involved in that. And I'm going to give you a resource in just a minute. I have a free course, a private money course. It's really taught by my good friend Dave DeBow. And he is an expert on teaching private money. And we're going to give this course to you today. I'm going to give you a link to it. Just hang on for a few more minutes, and I'll give you the link to that. But if you want to get involved in this type of no money down investing, here are the resources that I've kind of been promising you all along. Brand new website, really went live last week, but we didn't say anything about it until today. FlippingAmericaFunding.com. When you go to FlippingAmericaFunding.com, you're going to encounter four different ways to build credit. Now, 3 of the links are live. 1 is a coming soon. We'll have it in there by the end of the month, but we wanted to go ahead and go with the others. If you need gap funding money, you've got a couple of options. One is to do an installment loan, and there's a place where you can click, you can apply, you can get, I would say, up to $50,000 that you can use. You can use it for training, Flipping America coaching, or you can use it for gap funding, or you can use it for both. And then the other one is the business lines of credit. That's essentially a stack of credit cards. The advantage to the business lines of credit with the credit cards is you don't pay interest until you actually get the cash advances and use the money. The disadvantage to that is it has a higher success fee. But you're going to pay somebody for the privilege of getting hooked up with this money. And when you get this credit, if you've got decent credit, you can get approved for lines of credit through both of those sources. The links are right there at FlippingAmericaFunding.com. Also on that page, there's a link to Hard Money. That link is going to basically take you to Chip Cagle in Bay Mountain Capital. But that's okay. His contact information is there. And pretty soon we'll have links to the email addresses of his compatriots at Bay Mountain Capital, and depending on the areas where they are. I don't know what that is. I got an audio message and something isn't turned off. Anyway, but the other thing too is you'll be able to reach out to Chip, and if you need loans in an area that Bay Mountain doesn't serve, he can help you. So that's all right there. And there's your link to the private money course, bit.ly/. Private Money course. Real easy link to remember, or you can screenshot this if you haven't already and go there at your own leisure and take this course. It's not long. I think it's like 5 lessons, and you could do it all in one afternoon, and it's completely free, no cost or obligation. And along with that, there's a coupon for Dave does a full day workshop a few times a year. And in this course, there's a coupon to that makes that course essentially free. You got to pay for it to reserve your spot, but when you use the coupon that we provide for you, Dave will refund your enrollment fee. So you can get the free course and you can get a free full day with Dave DeBow, the master at private money. How about that? So here we are bringing you massive value today. And I'm looking at the comments. I don't see any questions, and I'm about talked out. So I want to thank you for joining us today. There's the links again if you need to see them. Private Money course, flippingamericafunding.com. And tomorrow night, we're going to talk with Ton and Scott about negotiation. We'll see you very soon.